Good morning. I'm Dr. J. Mehta. I would like to present a topic which is very near and dear to me. This is about mythology of ancient India and how it relates to the modern world. There are thousands of immigrants from India in United Kingdom, USA. Their children, grandchildren do not understand some of the mythology. Some of this mythology may look like just a fiction or imaginary story, but to me a mythology is more than just an imagination or a fiction. It has a deeper symbolic meaning that conveys the cultural, social, and a group psychology that is being presented in the form of a beautiful story or a beautiful work of art. And that's what I would like to present today. Now, Joseph Campbell would say that a mythology is a reflection of collective unconscious or collective subconscious of a particular group of human race, human culture, sociology. And I would like to point out that these mythological ancient stories, even though they may look very difficult to understand, there are some common themes and common messages. How human beings deal with anger and anxiety and the inner emotions, and how the good wins over the evil. That message has been conveyed to the masses or millions of people over centuries. We need to understand that these ancient stories are being told by sages or scholars to the common person who cannot read or write. And to convey these apparently difficult subjects to a lot of people and modify it over the years, and yet people would remember it in a collective memory, is a fascinating phenomena that has been going on both in Eastern culture and the Western culture. To give you an example, the theory of creation in Greek mythology, where the Geo or the Mother Earth marries the sky and then produces Cronus or Titan, gods of Titans and Olympia. Now, if you really put a common sense question, how can Earth marry sky and produce children? That's not the really a material or a biological sense question. Really, it's a mythological concept that the creation came from earth, sky, light, space, water, the essential elements that were present at the time of creation. Anybody who takes these mythological stories only at its world value or as it is written or told is missing the boat. There's a hidden message that a lot of people already understood, but it was not spelled out. So let me start with an interesting a statue here in front of me, which shows the creation mythology and dissolution mythology of Hindu tradition. This is a replica of a 9th century Shiva. Shiva is one of the three important gods of Hindu faith. The Brahma, the god of creation. Vishnu is a god of power that sustains life and protects human race. And Shiva is considered a god of dissolution or god of destruction. Now, you would think that the god of destruction is a negative god, but Hindus look at it as a dissolution to prepare the universe for the new creation. So he's not necessarily a bad god. There comes a time, and usually Hindus consider that every 4.3 billion years. Interestingly, they thought that the time on the planet is different than time of the creator Brahma. So one day of Brahma is approximately 4.3 billion years on planet Earth. This God, when wakes up, the matter turns into life, and then when he sleeps, the life turns into the matter. I mean, almost like a DNA becoming alive and DNA becoming dead, but it is actually meant to be a consciousness of the supreme divine universal entity that converts the portion of his consciousness and injects into the force of life. Now this statue, here Shiva is also a god of dance. He performs a beautiful dance. And you can see that around this circle, these are all planets burning. Believe it or not, these are represented multiple planets in the galaxy. And Shiva is performing his beautiful dance of dissolution at the end of every cycle of creation and dissolution. In his hand there is light, but this is called a mudra like this. It's called Abhay Mudra. Abhay means fear not. Even though he's preparing dissolution of the whole universe, there is no anger or there is no frustration on his face. In fact, there's a gentle smile. He's saying, don't be afraid. This dissolution is the beginning of recreation. And this is a cyclic concept of Hindu creation and destruction. But a beautiful position, for example, to be able to bend the knee and still keep a balance requires a tremendous control of dancing position. Now guess what this is? This is the dwarf of ego. So now let us go to the deeper meaning of this. When the ego is totally surrendered, the inner consciousness is fully awakened. It is through the inner consciousness that you look at the life in a new creation form. You are able to dissolve or destroy your negative energy, that is anger, greed, lust, and a lot of negative emotions to other life forms. Once you are fully awakened, the pure consciousness of love and kindness wakes up. Now if you can see here, there's a drum. It's almost like a big bang. When Shiva moves the drum in one direction, the first sound appears. Hindus call it Om. Modern scientists will call it maybe Big Bang or Bang theory. But first there was a sound, and the sound is the first energy that comes out from nothingness at the beginning of the existence, before the existence existed. And then his drum or the sound converts or begins to convert the matter into life and vice versa. So this is a beautiful statue of Shiva and his dance. It's called Tandav or dance of dissolution, but it is also a dance of recreation. Now philosophically, as Kumar Swami says, this dance occurs in Chidda Brahma, supreme mind of the God and his consciousness. So actually the initial energy of the universe is the everlasting energy of supreme consciousness, which is the root source of energy for creation of our galaxy or the planet. And these are various planets around him, and after certain million or billions of years, this creator God and the dissolution God decides that it's time to level everything off and start all over again. So this statue, on one hand, could be worshipped as Lord Shiva, but has a deeper meaning of what Hindu sages and people of India believed about creation and dissolution and the cycle of creation of the galaxy and the life forms over many, many centuries, perhaps many, many billions of years. But the beautiful thing I want to point out is, even though there's a dissolution, the Shiva is not doing this with anger. He has a sense of kindness. It is time to go. And this is true with our life. You enjoy the life, ultimately you face the death, but instead of fear, and he says, fear not, by putting his hand like this, that you are going to a journey that is going to be a new beginning. So if you want to apply to individual life, fully conscious, you are a realized person, you no longer will have the fear of death, and you are ready to continue the cycle of reincarnation. So this is a statue of Shiva and his dance.